I would like to thank the government of the Republic of Korea for inviting me to undertake this official mission from 20th to 29th of January 2016, my first in Asia. I also met with activists representing different perspectives, observed a number of protests, talked with families who lost their children in the Seawall ferry tragedy, and more. I traveled to Ansan, Sejong, Genju, and Pohang. They cite people's convenience as a rationale for restricting protests. They have also cited security challenges, particularly in relation to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, as a reason for limiting rights. However, because the right to peaceful assembly is an individual right, the fact that a few people are violent in an assembly does not make the assembly violent under international law. Where a few people are violent, the police have the responsibility to find ways to apprehend and hold them accountable, using the least disruptive means possible. The need to disperse assemblies should therefore be very rare. Undue restrictions are seeping into every stage of the assembly process in South Korea, before, during, and after. These restrictions range from formal legal constraints to more practical obstacles and are gradually reducing the right to peaceful assembly to a privilege. Certain police tactics during assemblies also concern me, such as the use of water cannons and bus barricades. Water cannons can inflict great bodily harm, as the case of Mr. Baek Namji tragically illustrates. Bus barricades keep protesters out of the sight and sound of their target audience, reducing the effectiveness of their messages. Furthermore, the use of water cannons and bus barricades, particularly when coupled with massive deployment of force, is almost guaranteed to increase tension between police and protesters, who may see this as an unprovoked attack. This is not a justification of violence, but rather an observation of human nature. Aggression only begets aggression. The Seawall ferry disaster is one of the most tragic accidents in South Korea's recent past. I was honored to visit the memorial for the victims in Ansan and deeply touched by the tributes, especially to the young lives that were lost. The assemblies related to the ferry disaster are a natural response to the feeling that the family's concerns are not being addressed adequately by the authorities. While the government has made efforts to investigate the accident, hold to account some of those involved, and provide compensation to the families, some of those closely affected by this tragedy do not feel that this is enough. I do not judge which side is right. Rather, I wish to emphasize that the whole point of the right to freedom of assembly is to give people a space to air their disagreements in a peaceful manner so that disputes can ultimately be resolved. As part of this right, the government has an obligation to maintain open communication channels with the Seawall families and their representatives. I am concerned about the recent outlawing of the Korean Teachers and Education Workers Union, KTU, because it retained 9 dismissed teachers as members. International human rights law is clear that the dissolution of a trade union should only occur in extremely serious cases as a measure of last resort. I do not consider that the case of KTU met this high threshold. In my discussions with government, I found a palpable attitude of indifference towards the ability of workers to associate. The Ministry of Employment and Labor informed me that it is neutral towards trade unions. Yet neutrality is not good enough under international law. International law is clear that states must take positive measures to protect and foster the enjoyment of fundamental rights.